What is going on, Jets fans? Welcome into NYJ today. I hope you all are feeling fired up about free agency. It is right here. It is right now. We are right here on the cusp of some big things happening for this football team. So I just couldn't be any more excited. Yeah, I got a couple of things I got to tighten up here, but the intro is pretty sweet. I know it. So anyway, like I said, just let me know what you guys want to talk about tonight because I've got my list of topics here. But basically, we're just going to get right into it. So, again, if you have something that you want to talk about tonight, just let me know either in the comments or you can actually call into the show. I'm trying to get my daggone chat or banner to pop up, and it will not. It refuses to do so. Let me get that figured out. One little second. Okay, it's being very weird. But anyway, I can put the phone number to call in just a few seconds. But anyways, it is good to be with you guys. So just keep in mind that this show is recording live, but it's also going to be posted to YouTube afterwards. So I'm going to try to treat it just like our normal streams. And again, just let me know, even if it's after the show is already aired, just let me know what you guys think in the comments after it posts to YouTube. So, with that said, we got a couple of comments here. We're just going to get right to it. We got Jets Wire official joining the chat, and it's not showing up for some reason. Let's try that again. What is going on here? Hold on a second. I have no idea what's going on with this. Yeah, please do call in. Just trying to get my screen right. It's not looking right here. Okay, it's working there, but not on the other screen. Okay. Yeah, feel free to call in. The phone number I can put into the chat. And like I said, I have no idea why my banner is not running. Usually it runs. Let me post that in the chat right now. Let's do that. Boom. There you go. Phone number to call. Feel free to call in. I'm going to go ahead and just get started with the topics, though. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss tonight is the free agents that have been cut. So there have been a bunch of moves made, one of which is the New York Giants have cut their guard, and a lot of people are talking about how he could potentially be a target for the New York Jets. And his name is Kevin Zeitler, I believe, of the New York Giants. Let me just get that number. Got a phone call here. Let's take it. Jets Wire, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm excited.
Yes, dude. What do you want to talk about?
I'm really excited.
What do you got? What do you got on the mind? Let's hear what you got to say.
I see you're talking. I see you were going to talk about guys like Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel, Kyle Juszcyk. To be honest, bro, those are three main guys I would go after. But the thing is, I have a feeling the Jets we're going to do something like this. I have a feeling we're going to maybe go after. I don't know if they're going to necessarily do this, but I really think they should go after Kenny Golladay first.
Tell me why you want Kenny Golladay over all the other dudes.
I think he's the best on the market. I know he's the most expensive, but I think we just need a number one that bad. I think he'd be the perfect option. Listen, man, I'm fine with the rest. In your opinion, do you think Corey Davis should be a good number one on the Jets?
So that's actually one of the things I'm a little bit worried about. I feel like Joe Douglas is going to want to sign him. I think he's the guy that reminds him the most of kind of like a Brashad Perriman. Somebody that...
But he's so much better than Perriman now.
I mean, he is better than Perriman. I agree, and he's proven that he's at least, when he's healthy, he's consistent. And
I think in my opinion, he's a Joe Douglas type guy in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Corey Davis is, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel. And it's not necessarily that I'm concerned that I think he's a bad football player. I worry about him maybe having too much...
I know. I'm not sure about him being a number one receiver.
That's my worry, yeah.
That's my concern. I'm just me, I think the guy's a good player, but I just don't. Like, my concern is he a number one? Is he like Kenny Galladay? Is he like those kind of guys? I don't think so.
That's my worry, and I don't think that he is. I don't think he is.
The thing is that you have to realize he's good and he doesn't get that much reception.
Yeah, no. And they didn't throw the ball a lot in Tennessee, though.
That's a little bit of a risk. Like, say that's the only receiver you get in free agency. Say that.
Right. No, I wouldn't be happy with that move. I think that would be something to be concerned about because then again, you're talking about.
I'd be happy if we signed him.
Yeah, no, and I again, it wouldn't be. I don't
think he's a number one.
Right, and it wouldn't be all doom and gloom necessarily just because we've signed him. It wouldn't be like something like, oh, we signed him instead of Kenny Galladay. I wouldn't be disappointed. I would just be more or less worried about can he live up to the contract that he ends up getting, and can he produce as at least a number 2 wide receiver, because we're all hoping that Mims steps up.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're the Jets, in your opinion, what wide receiver are you signing out of all these guys?
In free agency?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's all day. It's it's Curtis Samuel. That's my guy.
Yeah, I knew you knew that. Yeah, I like her. And Curtis Samuel, I really like, bro. This is the main reason I love him. He's so good at end arounds, and that's like what the 49ers system is like. And a lot of end arounds.
Yes. No, I know. And
reverses.
Well, and keeping
Samuel, I know. I'd be like re-signing Curtis Samuel.
So I talked about it in the stream this past Wednesday. So the thing you have to keep in mind with Curtis Samuel is he's going to keep the defense honest. So like when he's doing those jet sweeps, they're not always going to be handing him the ball.
Do you think he'd be a good number one?
No, I do not, and that's the thing. Like he's my number 1 guy in free agency.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing, man. Listen, there's these good receivers that are underrated in this league. The thing is, we just don't know if they're number 1. That's my concern. Like it's full of our concerns.
Well, and again, just because he's not a number 1 or Corey Davis isn't a number 1 doesn't mean that move can't work out. Like I think it definitely can. I just think that Mims needs to step up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the thing, bro. Like if you sign a guy like Corey Davis or Curtis Samuel, Crowder and Mims would have to step up. They would have to. Both of them would have to do things just as much as they are. So,
yeah, and we would need a tight end in this offense too. That's the other thing. Like when you talk about
I don't want to see Joe Douglas get me a guy like a wide receiver from the 49ers. Like say he signed Kendrick Bourne. I'm not good with that.
No. I'm not either. No. And that's the thing. We can't be willy-nilly.
So you actually think Kendrick Bourne's number 1?
No, I do not. No. What I was going to say is I don't think we should just be signing anybody from the 49ers. We should be signing guys that we know can contribute.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think we should really look into signing Yannick Ngakoue.
You know I like Yannick Ngakoue. He's on my channel, dude. Yannick Ngakoue would be a game changer on our defense, without a doubt. But I think a lot of edge guys would be, though.
That's a guy we need. That's definitely a guy we need. It's just like, we'll just see, man. I really just hope Joe Douglas is really going to be agency this year. I really, really hope. And if he gets me a guy like Kenny Galladay, great. I'd love it.
Yep. So my predictions of what he's going to do is going to come out this Sunday, and I think that we all need to temper our expectations. I don't necessarily see us signing any big fish in free agency. I didn't predict us. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. What I was going to say is me neither. To be honest, I really don't think Joe Douglas is going to spend all that money on Galladay. I could be wrong, though. We can easily be wrong, but unless he just wants a number 1 like a real number 1 receiver.
Correct.
But the thing is, bro, Joe Douglas, he's not the biggest spender in the world.
Right.
Oh, but that's the kind of being a good GM. The good GMs out there don't spend, they don't go out there and spend so much money on each and every player.
Exactly.
So that's the good GMs, but we're going to see, right?
Yeah, no, you're good. I was just going to add on to that. Basically, saying that he's not going to spend a lot of money doesn't mean he's not going to be active in free agency. He's going to be plenty busy.
No, anything he'll spend big money on 2 guys, maybe.
Exactly. I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't think
it's going to be any more than 2 guys. Are you going to spend big? Who knows? Maybe he's going to spend big money on Joe Thuney and big money on a receiver.
Yep. Well,
I have a feeling he might do that, but other than that, I don't think he's spending big money on anyone else.
Well, we have to remember Go ahead, you're good.
Especially on the defensive side of the football. I don't think he's spending big money on there. I think he can just get. Listen, man. Like if say we find a guy like Richard Sherman, trust me, you can get him cheap.
Yeah, no.
Like, he kind of wants to be a Jet just because of Salah.
Yeah, no, and I think this is a good comment actually. Before I continue to let you talk, so somebody in the comments said Quan Williams, the cornerback from the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
That might be the guy they target rather than Richard Sherman. Not to say that Richard Sherman wouldn't bring something to the defense, because obviously he brings leadership.
Maybe we could sign both. We could sign both. It's possible.
It is possible. They have the money, and again, like back to what you said though, I don't see there's any reason why we can't sign Joe Thuney and why we wouldn't. And I think Joe Douglas shows that he has the interest and the drive to address the offensive line. And I think that they would have signed Joe Thuney last offseason if he were available.
Yeah, I know.
So, James.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I'm actually going to let you go. I think I might have another phone call or two coming in. But, dude, thank you so much for coming in. And thank you for being so active on the channel, dude.
I'll call in next week, maybe. We're going to see a really good signing on Wednesday. So
Dude,
I'll definitely call in.
That's what I'm fired up about. I'm glad because we got our Wednesday podcast, and it's right on the free agency beginning. So thank you so much, dude, for calling in, dude. Have a great night. All right, brother. Later. So, yeah, James D. Pietro, comes in. He says, JD will go after Thuney. After losing Conklin last year, that's where the big money will go. Build the wall. And yes, I agree. We need to address that interior offensive line. We have to get more stout. We have to be able to protect our quarterback, whether it is a Zach Wilson, whether it's a Deshaun Watson, a Sam Darnold. The list goes on and on and on. You got, Justin Fields could be a potential match. So we just do not know. Trey Lance and a trade back. The options are endless. So again, just want to make sure now that I've got my scene all set up, if you guys look at the top, our number to call is up at the top. I would love to hear from you guys. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching it for the first time and you're live on here right now, call into the show and let me know what you guys want to talk about, because I'm all about that. I'm all about involving the listeners and the viewers. So Grant Root says, I think Douglas's spending will depend on 1, Watson, big guard signing. 2, QB comes at 2nd overall. Guard and center will also be drafted, and more money will go towards wide receiver. Yes. The Watson thing is so interesting, and again I talked about it in the stream on Wednesday. I do think very much so. I don't know if we're going to end up with Deshaun Watson on our team. I don't know if the Texans are going to hold firm, but I do think that they know that if they do not trade Deshaun Watson to the Jets, they're going to be screwed. They're going to have a real problem at quarterback. They will not be able to replace him adequately. So, yeah, I just noticed that. That's a good point to make. Michael Fisher, 1987, he says, I like that Grant changed his icon. Yeah, Grant is stepping his game up for us. The Deshaun Watson thing, again, just like I feel like they have them by the balls. The Houston Texans are in a big-time problem because, again, if they trade him away, they have traded away a legit top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So they're going to have to replace him. They're going to have to either draft his replacement or sign his replacement, somebody. And I just don't think – you just have to think that the Texans are going to want to fix that. Grant Root, y'all got on me. I got my wife to change it for me. Yes, you needed to change it because now it actually looks interesting. So, all right, we're going to continue on here. So the next topic, again, or the first topic, I should say, I started to talk about it before I got my first caller. We had Kevin Zietler I was talking about from the Giants. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. And again, if you're watching this afterwards, comment on the video. Again, if you are watching this and you are a spectral watcher of my channel, I've checked the stats. We're at about 30% subscribed views and 60%, 70% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you are watching my stuff, and it appears that you are, if you're watching it and you're enjoying it and you like the videos, consider subscribing. I mean, we're going to keep doing this. We've been doing it for over 2 months now. We're just having an absolute ball interacting with you guys, talking Jets football. So, you know, a little selfish plug here, but again, we just love doing this with you guys. So just let me know, and we look forward to talking football with you. So, anyway, Kevin Zietler, I feel like the guard position needs to be addressed. We talked about it with Joe Tooney. If they are not able to land a Joe Tooney, I see Kevin Zietler as a really, really good option. So this guy is still, you know, a really good veteran presence. You know, I don't have his age and his stats right in front of me here, but I am going to quickly do that and just try to get a good idea of who this dude is. So, Kevin Zietler, he was drafted in the first round back in 2012. So you have to imagine he's getting a little bit older. He's 31 years old. Actually, just turned 31 recently, March 8th. Great size, 6'4", 315 pounds. He played 5 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals, 2 with the Cleveland Browns, 2 with the New York Giants, and pretty consistent with his starts. So in the last 6 seasons, he's only missed 1 game. So you're talking about another potential anchor on the inside. And again, you're not going to get him for 4 years, 5 years to plug up the middle. You're going to get him for a 1 to 2 year deal. And you're getting him to fill a position that's really a dire need. And again, if we draft a quarterback, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, you name it, Mac Jones, all of them. If we draft a quarterback, we need to protect them. And you have to properly give them a chance to step up in the pocket and to make throws. Excuse me while I sip my beer. So yeah, Kevin Zietler, again, if we miss out on Joe Tooney, I feel like this is a slam dunk. You got to make this kind of move, and I think that's the only reason why he hasn't been signed yet. There are a lot of available guards in this free agency class, and so I think a lot of NFL teams are just kind of sitting on their hands here and waiting to see what happens with all of these other guards in free agency. So I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong here, but I don't think that Kevin Zietler gets signed before free agency. Again, we just have to wait and see. Some other names that popped up, Carlos Dunlap was a defensive end that was cut by the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think that he had a great year. Again, I need to kind of look this up. This is something that I do not know off the top of my head, but I can look it up pretty quickly here. We got Pro Football Reference is one of the best websites. So 6'6", 285 pounds, 32 years old. Again, just recently turned 32. So he's definitely long in the tooth. But when you're talking about production and sack production, he's right up there with some of the best. 87.5 career sacks. And again, you're not picking him up to be some like long-term answer for your pass rushing needs. You're picking him up to potentially help groom a Jabari Zuniga, to help potentially groom another drafted player at that position. I'm all for Carlos Dunlap. I think that might be actually a pretty smart move. And again, he just got cut. There's not going to be a huge market for him. So I could be very, very interested in that move as well. So JetsWire official throws in the chat. He says, do you think we should look also into Mitchell Schwartz? So somebody on Twitter, and again, if you guys do not follow me, I am on Twitter at NYJ Today. Big shocker, I know. But if you're on Twitter, come on and follow me, guys, because I'm on Twitter all the time. And if you are on Twitter, I would love to talk with you guys throughout the week. It's a great way to keep up with our viewers. I have a bunch of people now following me who are on the channel. I know Grant Rude's following me. I've got Straight Fire's following me, along with a bunch of other people. So just, again, if you're on Twitter, come on at me and we can talk during the week. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, we were talking about Mitchell Schwartz. So there's a guy on Twitter. His name is Harrison Gleason or something like that. And Harrison talked about signing Mitchell Schwartz to play right tackle for the New York Jets. And I think that might not be the move to make. And it's not because of money. It's not because of age. He is getting older. But actually, I think the big concern with him is you're basically getting an upgrade at right tackle, but you already have a decent right tackle. And I get that we can cut George Fant pretty easily. It's not like a huge cap hit if we cut him. But I just don't think that it's necessary. I don't know if we need that. So I'm going to actually pass on Mitchell Schwartz. And again, it's not because he's not a good football player. I just feel like we already have an adequate right tackle. We need to focus on the other positions of need rather than trying to recruit Mitchell Schwartz to the team. And yeah, I agree. I mean, again, we're not saying George Fant is some superstar. He's not. He's an average right tackle. And again, that's good enough. If you've got a good, solid right tackle, then you are in good shape. And that's my opinion on it. I would rather roll with George Fant than Mitchell Schwartz. But I do appreciate it, you bringing it up because people are talking about it. You're not the only one wondering about Mitchell Schwartz. So, Grant Rude, no. And she needs to. I don't know why she's not following me because she has a strong Twitter, or could have a strong Twitter game, I say. Um, so he's coming off of a pretty good year. Yeah, that's how I feel about George Fant as well. Grant Rude in the chat says, I see a lot of people wanting McGovern to move to guard. I'd be fine if they keep him at center. So, Grant, the only way I'm doing that is if we sign Corey Linsley, the Packers center that's hitting free agency. That's the only situation where I'm sitting here saying, well, actually, no, that's not true. That's one of the situations where I'm saying to myself, okay, let's go ahead and push McGovern to guard, and then we will ride with somebody else at center. So Corey Linsley would be one name. There are some players in the draft that we could go after as well to potentially plug in at center and then push McGovern to guard. And I don't think that's a bad way to do business because McGovern does have experience starting as a guard. I don't know if this is true, but I think it's at least 1 to 2 years of starting experience as a guard in the NFL for the Broncos. So again, I feel like with that kind of move, again, it offers versatility along your offensive linemen. So if our center does go down, we can push McGovern back inside. And it just gives you that flexibility, which I really like a lot. Yeah, it is a wife fail. You are a part of the channel, my dear, so get on it. Fant will also fit well in the zone blocking scheme as well. That's a good point to make. Fant probably wasn't used on the move quite as much as he should have been, and we can say that for all of our offensive linemen. We have pretty good athletic offensive lineman. McGovern is a good swing center. He could go on those pitches. They could put him on those moves where he's out there leading blocks. Screenshot that for later, for sure. What the hell are we talking about? Pushing McGovern to guard. So yeah, I would say either the drafting a center, or signing Corey Linsley is the only scenario where I'm considering doing that. Okay, cool. Any other names here that I looked at? I saw Carlos Dunlap. And there's really not a whole lot more. There's a lot of depth guys. I know a couple of people have talked about Alex Smith as wanting to sign him. I'm not opposed to that, but I don't know if I'm in love with that move. So I would actually rather go after the backup quarterback for the 49ers. And I tweeted about it about a week or two ago. His name is slipping my mind. CJ Beathard. CJ Beathard would be a great guy to play because he's still young, so we could sign him to a longer-term contract to be our long-term backup. But then the only other problem is that kind of negates James Morgan, the quarterback that Joe Douglas drafted in the 4th round. So I don't know if we'll do that. I would like to see CJ Beathard. I would like to see a veteran at the quarterback position. But I just don't know what's going to happen in that regard. So otherwise, there's not really too many other names that I've seen as far as big cuts. Quan Alexander is a linebacker, actually, that some people are pretty high on. He's been injured a little bit, but he's very athletic, has experience playing in the 49er defense, and he's, again, extremely athletic. He's going to be able to help cover. He could probably play outside linebacker in this 4-3 defense. And again, we are dying at outside linebacker. You tell me right now, who are our starting outside linebackers? Chat, tell me. Because if you know who they are, I'd love to hear who they are because I have no damn idea. We are screwed at outside linebacker right now. And it's one of the reasons why I think Joe Douglas will potentially consider a trade back because our team is devoid of some really key ingredients. We already know about the most important ones, but outside linebacker is one that right now we are still so very screwed up on. So let's see. Yeah, Grant Rude said it best, and that's how I feel. They are not on the current roster. Our outside linebacker position might be one of the worst in the National Football League. Yeah, we talked about Sam Darnold at outside linebacker because he played it in high school before he played quarterback. So yeah, the Quan Alexander move might actually be a pretty sneaky one. So Luvu is a 3-4 outside linebacker. Again, I could be wrong on that one. I think at best case scenario, he's an edge in this scheme. He would probably have his hand in the dirt. I don't see him as a stand-up linebacker, but I'm okay with them re-signing him. He's young. He has had some production, but I'm still a little bit higher on people like Bryce Huff. And things like that. Jabari Zuniga, I want to see get some more playing time this year. He just needs to stay healthy. I think that's his big problem as of right now. I would like to know about what you guys think about Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver. He would bring some veteran leadership at our receiver core. We could use some more depth. That could be an interesting player. Kyle Van Noy is a name that I've heard about. The Raiders have released Richie Incognito, Gabe Jackson, 2 guards. Eric Fisher is a tackle. I mean, again, we kind of talked about tackle already, not really needing that. Really needing to invest money in that position. And then let's see here. We've got Ricky Wagner from the Green Bay Packers, right tackle. Very interesting player. Oh, Justin Coleman, cornerback from the Lions. He's a solid player as well. But yeah, otherwise the list does have some retreads here. We see James Carpenter has been cut. That's a former New York Jet as well. So yeah, that'll probably wrap up topic number 1. So Grant Rude said 4-3 outside linebacker needs to be fast and be able to cover, seal the edge like what the Jets wanted Lee to be. Exactly. And that's actually one of the reasons why Darren Lee, I think, gets a bad rap. I mean, he definitely was a bust. No, don't get me wrong. But I feel like from the beginning, he was always in the wrong scheme. What a ridiculous thing to think that he could play linebacker in a 3-4 defense. That was just outrageous. Terrible draft pick. And not all of it's on him, I think. In my estimation, he was put in a bad situation with a really, really poor scheme fit. So, all right. We're going to go with topic number 2 here on my screen. I will not spend too long on this. So again, this weekend I am releasing my final, actually tomorrow I should say, I'm releasing my final free agent profile video. It's safety Keanu Neal. We will talk about him later. I do have him on the topics. But I have my predictions for what I believe Joe Douglas and the Jets will do. Again, these are not my predictions or what I would want them to do. These are what I think will happen. And Curtis Samuel is not on my list. And it breaks my damn heart. So, again, I don't want to spend too much time on this because, again, we've talked a lot about it on the channel. But I think that Jets fans aren't realizing who Curtis Samuel is, what he's been in the NFL, what he brings to this team, the fit that he is, the age that he is, the explosiveness that he brings. So we're going to just really quickly hash it out because I know you guys are probably sick and tired of me talking about him. But again, this is important. This is a 24-year-old wide receiver with 4 years of experience. 4 years. And he's played, and he's now 24. That is unbelievably rare in the NFL for somebody to hit free agency after playing 4 seasons in the NFL and to still be only 24. 5'11", 195. Don't tell me he can't play on the outside. That's horse shit. Of course, he's not going to win these jump ball situations in the red zone. We all know that. That's not a big deal. We wouldn't be counting on him to do that anyway. But what you're getting with Curtis Samuel, again, a second-round pick by the Carolina Panthers from Ohio State University, what you're getting from him is one of the most versatile football players, I believe, again, in the National Football League. Not in the division, not in the AFC, in the NFL. This guy took snaps as a running back. This guy lines up in the outside as a receiver. He lines up in the slot. He motions. He can, like Jets Wire official mentioned earlier, he's fantastic on end arounds. The thing that I'm looking for, again, with this Shanahan offense that we're going to be running with LaFleur, is these jet sweeps. Again, the Jets were one of the worst, or they were the worst, or the least, they had the least amount of motions pre-snap in the entire NFL last year, and that shit has to change. The New York Jets offense, we all know, sucked. But that has to stop. We can't continue to have pre-snap no motions, just going up and hiking the ball. This isn't 1955. We're not playing we're not playing, on a dirt field, trying to draw up plays in the sand. We are playing. We are playing. I just got a laugh out of that because my wife's commenting that she's already following me. So there you go. We need a guy who can throw the defense off before we've even snapped the ball. We need guys like Denzel Mims to win on the outside. We need him to be able to do jump balls and get the ball in the air, those tough contested catches. But we need somebody to be able to put in motion. This offense lacks that. And that's why if we don't get Samuel, I'm praying. And this is kind of a nice segue because this is free agency and the draft. If we do not get Curtis Samuel, my position has changed. If we do not address that kind of player, a versatile guy who can throw the defense off pre-snap, we need to be looking really hard and long at Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. This is a guy who's very similar size, similar ability with the ball in his hand to make moves, to make people miss. And Kadarius is explosive. He's not the fastest wide receiver in the class, but my God, watch the tape on Kadarius Toney. If you haven't seen him, he is a human joystick. He truly can break people's ankles all over the football field, and he is just like Curtis Samuel. He's lined up as a running back. He's lined up on the outside. He's lined up in the slot. He can do everything. And I think that's one of the things that's a negative for Jamison Crowder. Again, great slot wide receiver. He's one of the best in the AFC. He's one of the best slot receivers in the National Football League. But Crowder is not very versatile at all. Crowder is almost entirely in the slot. Crowder is not the kind of threat that you are worried about pre-snap. You're not wondering, oh, where is he going to line up? Is he going to be in motion? Is he going to be receiving a jet sweep? Is he going to be on an end around? He doesn't do any of that stuff. And Jamison Crowder's not really that dangerous with the ball in his hands after making a catch. He's not, he's not a stick in the mud by any means, but he's not shaking people's boots. He's not scaring anybody. So, long story short, I think that the New York Jets need to get somebody like Curtis Samuel or like Kadarius Toney in this offense, and it's probably our biggest need outside of inside offensive line and quarterback. We need somebody that can do this to strike fear in the offense pre-snap. What's going on? This is a new member, and I'm going to go ahead and throw on a Jets chant. Mike E, if that is your name. If I'm saying it wrong, let me know. But welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate you. So Mike Gee says, what about Tutu Atwell? Thoughts? He's comparable to Toney. So I'll be honest with you, man. I am doing my research on the NFL draft NFL draft right after this final weekend. So my free agency profile series is ending. I'm going to continue doing my research on these draft players, and I'm going to be uploading videos to the channel every single week. So, Mike Gee, I don't know a lot about Tutu Atwell, and that's why I'm just going to quickly kind of read up on him, pull up a little bit of information on him. So here he is, Tutu Atwell. He is 5'9", 165. So this is similar. The only difference is I don't ever see him potentially having a chance to line up on the outside. And again, I haven't seen his tape, so I will be watching his tape. Thank you for recommending it. Something that's underrated with Kadarius Toney is his physicality. Actually, Kadarius Toney is a damn physical football player. So he is one of those dudes that before he goes out of bounds, yeah, dude, absolutely. Welcome to the channel. We appreciate you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, dude, because we are growing very quickly. We've been doing this for about 2 months now. We are loving life. So yeah, the thing that's sneaky about Kadarius Toney is he's damn physical. He hits people before he goes out of bounds. He's never afraid to go, get contact, and he's fighting for every yard. He's not one of those dudes that scampers to the sideline. So yeah, I'm thinking that I'm still favoring somebody like Kadarius, and maybe you do too. But I will do my research on Tutu, which is a great name, by the way, Tutu Atwell. 46 receptions, 625 yards, 7 touchdowns in 2020. Damn, huge season in 2019. Holy smokes. 70 receptions, 1,276 yards, 12 touchdowns. Jesus. The only thing I see missing from his game that I would really like is the rushing. And he does not appear to be a rushing threat, kind of like a Jamison Crowder. So I have no problem with Tutu just by looking at the stats. If we wanted to draft maybe the heir apparent to Jamison Crowder, this guy seems like he could be a good fit for that. But I don't think he can hold the versatility shoes that Kadarius Toney holds and that Curtis Samuel holds. Anyway, thank you again for coming in, watching the show. Feel free to call into the show, guys. I do have my number streaming across at the top. So do call in. My phone's right here. I've already taken one phone call tonight, so just keep on making phone calls and we can talk Jets football. So Grant Rude brings up a name that's very interesting for the draft, Elijah Moore. And I've heard about him on Twitter. And again, I am going to be doing my homework starting this weekend. For next weekend, we're going to be kicking off the draft profiles yet again. And I'm going to be hitting that all the way to the NFL draft. That's all this channel is going to be, is draft profiles after draft profiles. So I will be doing my homework on Elijah Moore. I believe he's from Auburn. If that's incorrect, you can yell at me in the chat. Grant Rude. But let's go ahead and pull him up since you brought him up. Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, sports reference. Let's see here. Ole Miss. Sorry, I was wrong. Not Auburn. So at least he's the SEC. 2020, 86 receptions, 1,193 yards, 8 touchdowns. And I am going to point out one of my favorite things about when I'm scouting college football players is I want to see that consistent growth. I don't want to see somebody pop in his junior year and then really fall off his senior year. That's one of those things that kind of worries me when I watch tape and when I'm looking at stats. I sweat when I see guys who had a pop of a year and then they just kind of fall off of a cliff. And with this dude, it's the thing that I love. He's showing steady improvement and steady growth every single year. 2018, 36 receptions, nearly 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2019, 67 receptions, 850 yards, 6 touchdowns. 86 receptions his final year, as I said, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, and every single year he increased his yards per catch. So, hell yeah, Elijah Moore. I'm all about that. And he also has pretty, decent size. Even though he's only 5'9", he does have a 185-pound frame to him. He's not the same kind of player as a Tutu Atwell. He's not, below 170 pounds, which is a little bit worrisome. Guys, I'm loving this. There's people popping in left and right. Jason Rhodes, welcome to the chat, sir. We are happy to see you. We've also got, let's see, you're not fashionably late, sir. You are on time. Welcome to the chat. So let's see here. Jason Rhodes throws out another name. He says Florida wide receiver Grimes in the late 5th or 6th. Check him out. I will do so. Not tonight, but I sure will. I am learning more and more about the draft. And again, this is what the channel is going to be for the next month and a half. It's going to be all drafts. So if you love the draft, if you love scouting, if you love learning about new players in the draft, you're going to need to subscribe to the channel. And if you're here and you've already subscribed, you just need to keep coming back, baby, because I'm going to keep pumping out this material. So we have talked Curtis Samuel and draft and wide receivers. I'm more than happy to change the subject, guys. So again, just keep loading up the chat here. I'm having a ball talking football with you guys tonight. So Corey Davis was a name that we mentioned earlier. I don't want to spend too much time on him because we did sort of talk about him. He is one of my predictions for the video that's going to come out on Sunday. I believe Corey Davis will be signed by the New York Jets. Corey Davis possesses good size, good speed, and if you know who Joe Douglas is as a GM, this is the kind of players that he likes. Big guys that can run fast, and Corey Davis is that player. So, we're going to quickly just go through this little profile here. He's 6'3", 209 pounds. You could argue that he and Mims are almost identical in size and speed. So when you're looking at Corey Davis, he came into the NFL. His first 3 years were kind of up and down. 375 yards his rookie year, 891 his second year, which is very good. Then he drops down to 600 his third year, and then back up to just under 1,000 yards this past year, 5 touchdowns. Corey Davis in an offense that has stability, and I think a good quarterback like a Ryan Tannehill can have a lot of success. And I do think that's the part that excites me, is getting somebody that has proven that he can be a solid wide receiver too. But I worry about Joe Douglas saying to himself, okay, this guy's still only 26 years old. Let's go ahead and sign him. Let's sign him to a 1-year deal worth, $8 or $9, $10 million, and we'll just kind of swing for the fences with this kind of move. And that's kind of the way Joe Douglas has approached free agency in general, is kind of taking those big swings. And I worry about that kind of move, because we need to make sure that our rookie quarterback, if we draft one, or Sam Darnold, we need to surround him with elite talent. That's what the NFL is all about now. You need to have playmakers on your offense. You need to have playmakers on the outside. You need playmakers on defense. So I'm not knocking Corey Davis, and I hope that everybody understands that. I'm not knocking him, but what I am saying is I want to make sure that our quarterback succeeds. I don't want any more of this bullshit where we draft a quarterback and we're just kind of crossing our fingers hoping that things work out. I want the best of the best. And it doesn't mean we need to go crazy in free agency, but I just want the guys that I know I think will pop for this team. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I haven't seen too many people posting about Corey Davis. Let me know what you guys think about Corey Davis, as his potential signing could happen. In my opinion, I think this is probably one of the most likely free agent wide receivers that the Jets will go after. Again, Galladay's better. In my opinion, Curtis Samuel offers more flexibility and youth and explosiveness. And then Corey Davis, I think he's in that second tier of the wide receiver free agents. So let me know what you guys think about Corey Davis. I'd love to know. Joseph, welcome to the chat. Happy to have you tonight. Welcome, sir. So Grant Rude's doing me a solid. He's posting in the chat, letting you guys know, about the channel. I appreciate that. I got Jason Rhodes in the chat talking about a sleeper. He says, check out the 2 from Appalachian State. I will have to do that. Jason Rhodes, that's why you're a part of NYJ Today, because you are always throwing out interesting perspectives, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what this is all about. We want to hear what other people think. We want to know what you guys are out there thinking as the offseason goes along. So keep with me. Stay with me here. All right, we're going to move on. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too much time on Corey Davis. I do expect us to sign him, and I just think that I'll be a little bit sad. But again, it's not because Corey Davis is a bum. I think he's a good, solid wide receiver too, and he's still young. So it could work out. I just don't know. It makes me a little bit nervous. Kind of reminds me of Brashad Perriman minus the injuries. Just a little bit concerning. So Grant Rude's in the chat, and he says, he says a lot, but I like it. He says, I think we're in for an evolution of what we all think Joe Douglas is. This is interesting. He says he had to get rid of a lot of bad contracts, knew the Jets weren't going to be good, looking to build pipelines through the draft. So are you suggesting that the Joe Douglas that we have seen in free agency is not the same Joe Douglas that we'll see forever or for the future? I would imagine that's what you're talking about. And I love Joe Douglas for his drafting. I love the move that he made last year in the draft to trade back in the second round. Was such a ballsy-ass move. And I know as fans, we were all going nuts. We all wanted the Jets to draft Denzel Mims right there at that second-round pick. But he moved back. He knew that there were still so many talented wide receivers And he pulled it off. I mean, that was just a damn good move to be able to move back like that to get the same guy that we all wanted. Was so impressive, and I really do have all the confidence in the world, and that's kind of why I've been saying all along, if Joe Douglas decides to take Justin Fields, I don't think I approve of that move, but you know what? I'm going to support the move, and I'm going to believe in the move because Joe Douglas knows better than all of us probably put together. Like, the guy knows football. He's been around good GMs with the Ravens, with the Eagles, so I trust this dude. Yeah, so Joe D has a long view on things finally. Yeah, so that's the thing. He's looking down the road. He's moved. He's like a chess player. He's not thinking about the move right now. He's thinking about 3 or 4 moves down the road. And that's what I love. And that's what I love about the GM that we have in New York. So, love this. He says, I will die on the Fields Hill. So listen, man, no worries. Again, if I say I think Justin Fields is the number 3 quarterback in this draft, and you say no, he's the number 2, I mean, what's the big friggin' deal? I mean, it's not that much of a difference anyway. I still like Justin Fields a lot, so you don't have to worry, man. You're safe here. He put us in a position to be in free agency with tons of cap flexibility in a year where no one has it. The other thing to keep in mind is this flexibility that we have with the cap. It's hopefully to be able to re-sign our own damn players. I'm so tired of missing out on re-signing or letting our own go. That shit has to stop immediately. Has to stop immediately. And that's not just the Jamal Adams thing. I mean, this goes on forever and ever. The Jets have been letting good football players go that they drafted for such a long damn time, and I'm tired of it. I want them to invest in their own. I want them to draft well, and I want them to sign their guys to big contracts instead of chasing this stuff in free agency. I mean, that's how good football teams work. So let's hit the chat again. We're getting busy in here. I love it. Busted Knuckles says in the draft, he understands the way other teams think, and he uses it to his advantage. This is not something we're used to being in Jets fans. He's playing 4D chess. Damn right he is. Mike Gee, we did talk about him earlier, actually. That's what the first topic was all about, was players that were cut. And I think Zietler, the only reason why he hasn't been signed right now is because teams are waiting to see about guys like Joe Thuney. And there's just so many free agents available right now. I think that he's going to get signed pretty quickly early on in free agency. Let's see here. So James DiPietro mentions a really interesting name here. He says Creed Humphrey. Yeah, the Oklahoma, I believe he's a center. James, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That would be an awesome move to be able to put him in the middle, bump McGovern out to guard, and then we've maybe potentially signed Joe Thuney. I mean, damn, that's a great offensive line. You've got Becton, McGovern, Humphrey, Thuney, and then you've got George Fant. I mean, damn. That just sounds good. That sounds stable. That sounds like young talent, veteran talent, all blended in. And guys that, aside from Mekhi Becton, guys that have proven that they can stay healthy in the NFL. And I think that's what we really need. We need guys to stay healthy at the offensive line because consistency is what you need. You need stability at the offensive line. So I would love Creed Humphrey. I need to do more research on him, but I've heard nothing but great things about him. So we'll just have to wait and see. The next name on my list might piss you off because it's a fullback, but I think that Kyle Juszczyk is an underrated free agent that's available, and he's in a position that we do not have somebody right now that is versatile, that can block, that can receive, and is good after the catch. We have Wesco, but I think that that's kind of one of those things where we could probably let him go if we are able to sign a Kyle Juszczyk. And Kyle has the experience in the offense. And again, I know we're not going to sign every 49er that's available this offseason. That would be ridiculous to think. But I think Kyle Juszczyk brings some veteran leadership in the backfield and some experience to the offensive line. Dickerson is a better center, I'm hearing in the chat. And some other people are talking about Landon Dickerson. Yep. So anyway, Kyle Juszczyk, I just feel like he would be the guy that I would want to go after in free agency to fill in that position. And I just feel like we need somebody that can be kind of like an outlet receiver for our young quarterback. Again, it's whether it's Darnold, Watson, rookie that we draft, it doesn't really matter. But I think we need somebody like this that can help in the outside zone running game, who can get out quickly. I don't think Wesco can do that. I really don't. I don't think Wesco is the kind of guy to be able to lead those blocks on the edge and to really make an impact, because that's what we need. We need a fullback that can really make blocks and can get guys going down the field. And he recently, actually, it was just today, he tweeted because the New York Jets signed the former strength coach for the 49ers, I believe, the guy that was holding on to Robert Saleh for dear life to keep him on the sidelines. Apparently, he liked a tweet because the Jets, signed him, and he actually commented and said that's his guy. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I think Kyle Juszczyk would be an incredible free agent hire. The question on the screen is perfect. He says, how much will Juszczyk cost? Wesco has fullback experience from college. Yeah, Wesco was like a H-back kind of in college at West Virginia. I think with Kyle, it's not going to cost terribly much. He's older now. I think he's 30, 31. And he was making about, in a 4-year deal that he got with the 49ers, it was like a $21 million contract, something like that. So roughly about $5 million per year. And that was when he was in his mid-20s. So I don't see that signing costing it wouldn't be very much at all. I think $3 to $4 million would get the job done. And you're talking about a guy that's going to be able to come in right away, and you don't even have to think about what are we going to do at fullback? How are we going to do these outside zone runs, these stretches to the outside? We've got that figured out. And it's really just about figuring out our offensive line and who's going to be carrying the football. And I think it's underrated. Again, this guy's good as a receiver. He can catch passes, and he can make people miss. We've seen him do it in the offense that they run. And I think this is a good point to make, Joe. Joe just posted this. San Fran may want to keep him. It's very, very possible they want to keep him. I'm sure that they do. But if they want to keep him, they're going to have a battle, I think. I think the Jets are going to be interested in him, and I think a lot of teams will be interested. Maybe he won't go as cheap as I'm saying. Maybe he doesn't go for 3 to 4. Maybe he gets another $5 million, APY. So we'll just have to wait and see on him. But I'm very excited about the possibility of Kyle Juszczyk on this team, helping a running back. I don't think LaMichael Pirine is our starter, but even as a backup, he needs a little bit of help. He was struggling to get running lanes in this offense last year, and he wasn't really making a lot of moves when he did have running lanes open. So good blocking will help that. And it'll help any running back have success. So that's kind of why Kyle is on this list. I just feel like Kyle Juszczyk, underrated, sneaky guy that can really help impact the game, not just running the football, but also with some outlet passes, and can make some plays with the ball in his hands. So it says, I thought that I had seen an estimated $8 million, so I don't give it any more thought. So I didn't give it any more thought. That would be too much. I'm out at $8 million, dog. I'm not paying $8 million for Kyle Juszczyk. So again, it was a 4-year deal, $20 million. I don't know what his signing bonus was, but again, I think that I had said 3 to 4 million, but even if you pushed it up to $5 million a year, I'd be probably willing to do that even too. Definitely not touching $8 million. If he's asking for that, go on. Go find another team. I'm not paying him $8 million per year. I would love to have him, but not at that cost. So, all right, we will move on. Somebody had mentioned earlier, and I'm sorry, I just wrapped it up, but I wanted to hit this comment. So he says, I think Juszczyk prefers the Niners. Just a guess, he'll want some money. Yep, Mikey, I appreciate your comment. Absolutely possible that he just opts to stay with the team that he's been with for the past 4 seasons, but it's hard to know for sure. Somebody mentioned earlier in the chat about Keanu Neal. I think it was Jets Wire official. Keanu Neal is a Atlanta Falcon that is going to hit free agency. And Keanu Neal was on that Super Bowl team when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. He went to the Pro Bowl that year. If you don't know a lot about Keanu Neal, the dude is a hit stick freak. I mean, this guy lays the wood down like you wouldn't believe. He is a ferocious hitter. And, we all know we've got Marcus May on this franchise tag for a year. And Keanu Neal is younger. He's only 26 years old right now. And I think that there's not going to be an enormous market for somebody like him because he's pretty much a box zone kind of safety. He's not going to ever be great in coverage. He's an average coverage safety at best. But there's things that are a part of his game that fits the scheme really nicely, and he would complement Marcus May so perfectly because Marcus May is all about coverage, is very good at coverage, I should say. And Keanu Neal can kind of be like that free roaming safety in the middle of the defense, just kind of going all over the place and hitting people like the beast that he is. So like I said, I don't think there's a huge market for a box safety, and that is what he is. But he would bring so much to the defense. He would bring a tenacity, a ferociousness that we really could use. And honestly, he is a bigger hitter than Jamal Adams, and we know Jamal Adams is a pretty good hitter. So again, I think he does what Jamal Adams does even better, just minus the pass rushing that Jamal Adams brings, Mr. Blitzboy himself. But yeah, so like Joe had just posted, I was just about to get to it. So Keanu Neal and Marcus May played at Florida. They were both Gators, and they both did obviously very, very well. Two players in the NFL playing in the college ranks. They were dominant at college, and it would be absolutely nasty in the NFL. It was nasty at Florida in college, and it would be nasty in the NFL. I could just see them enjoying playing together again, and also both of them kind of looking for that big contract because Keanu Neal, I think at this point, he's probably going to sign a 1-year deal. I think he's young enough that if he signs a 1-year deal, has a ball out kind of season, he's going to hit free agency again. He's going to be 27 years old, and he'll be looking to make a bigger payday. I don't think there's going to be a big market for him, and I think that, both of them being on 1-year deals kind of is like a way for them to play together and to make money together, basically. And I just see that being a situation worth watching. I do predict that they are going to be really interested in him. Maybe I'm way wrong. Maybe the NFL, there's more interest in Keanu Neal. I don't know that. But I think that the Jets have to be one of the favorites to land him. And again, I don't really love the idea of Ashton Davis starting at safety. I much prefer him as a third safety, kind of rotating in on these long plays, these third and long situations. And I really would like to see Ashton Davis just get some time to develop. He can play special teams. And again, that would be great. I mean, we could give him some time to develop, and then maybe he could be ready to start in his third season, which again, that's what good teams do. They draft players, and they don't always play right away. They need time to develop these guys. They're young when they come out. And people are being, very critical of the Ashton Davis pick, the player. I think just slow your damn horses. Hold down. Just hold on for a second. The guy is still so damn young. He's such an athlete. He has a lot of upside. He's a physical player. So again, there's benefits not only to our starting defense, but to our young players. If we sign somebody like a Keanu Neal, we can really help to develop the team underneath the starting lineup. So, that's kind of what I was mentioning. Mike, he's definitely intriguing. Played in Florida, yep, and we should give him a try. I said 1-year deal, and I think that's absolutely right on the money. Even if he doesn't sign with the New York Jets, I can absolutely see a situation where he signs a 1-year deal with another team. He's young. He's going to want another payday before he gets to his 30s. And I think that's kind of the way he's going to take this free agency. He's going to try to, bide his time, wait for the cap to go back up so teams have more money. And then he can kind of try to re-enter free agency as a 27-year-old. I don't know if he signs for $5 million. But I don't think it would cost too much more. I think I would predict, anywhere from $8 to $9 million for but again, I think that's pretty fair. Maybe I'm overestimating a little bit. But Brian Poole signed a 1-year deal for $5 million last offseason. I think a lot of people expected him to get a bigger payday than that. So you never know. Maybe he could come for a 1-year, $5 million deal. We just don't know. But that would be an awesome move. If they get him for 1 year, $5 million, woo, that's a good move. That's a really good move. Whew. All right. We are going to move right along here. We're going to go to our next topic, and it's actually phone calls. So, I've been streaming now for how long have I been streaming? About an hour now. So I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to challenge somebody to call in. It could be Mike. Mike, you're new to the channel, but I would love to hear from you, man. You can give me your feedback on anything that's been going on that's coming up in the NFL, whether it's the draft. I could care less. Grant Rude says Salah's defense is the same as what Seattle does, right? Yes. I think that is absolutely what we would be looking at. The only thing I would say maybe is that we maybe play a little bit more cover 4. The Seattle defense is notably known for their cover 3 defense. So you're looking at a zone defense primarily where they get after the quarterback with their front 4. But that cover 4 is, I think, something that they ran a lot in San Francisco. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they did. They obviously mix in different coverages, though. I'm sure they use cover 2, cover 3, cover 6. It just depends. So, looks like Joe is agreeing with me. Yes, basically yes. Thomas was a hard-hitting, not great cover guy. Don't see why Neal wouldn't be a good fit. Yeah, no, Neal is a good fit. And I think that would be an outstanding signing if we do end up with Keanu. I will be one happy dude. All right, last chance. Couple more minutes. I'm going to be out of here unless I get a phone call. Watch Atlanta's defense when Ulbrich took over. That's basically what we'll see. Yeah, Jeff Ulbrich, that's something that not a lot of people are talking about. I think he's going to bring a really good energy to this defense without being kind of the ridiculous guy that oh shoot, who do we have to thank? Greg Williams, sorry. His name was out of my head for a second. Yeah, without all of the ridiculous show business that he brought to the team, I feel like Jeff Ulbrich's going to bring intensity, good coaching, but without all of the side theatrics. He's not going to be one of those guys that make headlines, making comments on players like Greg Williams did. But yeah, Atlanta's defense wasn't bad last year. I mean, they were not an elite defense by any means, but that team was just not very good. They struggled with turnovers. They had some injuries, obviously, as well. But yeah, I can't wait to see Jeff Ulbrich, coaching this defense. Obviously, Robert Saleh is going to have a little bit of say in how he coaches it and how it's run. But Jeff Ulbrich is going to be calling the plays on defense. And I'm excited to see how that works. And perhaps I need to, as we get closer to the draft, I need to kind of watch some more film on that Falcons defense to kind of get a sense of what to expect. Tommy R., I do not recall seeing you, so welcome to the chat. Welcome. So Tommy R. says Rapp was talking on NFL Network. He keeps saying the Jets aren't going to spend for the Tier 1 free agents. That does not surprise me at all. But I'm not surprised to hear, I'm not surprised to hear it. It doesn't necessarily disappoint me. But again, it wouldn't shock me if they go after Joe Thuney. I don't see it likely that we get him. He's not one of my predictions that's going to come out on Sunday's video. Again, I am going to have a video coming out on Sunday morning predicting what I think the New York Jets will do in free agency. I don't have Joe Thuney predicted, but it would not surprise me if they go after Joe Thuney. You got to remember, Tommy R., this is bullshit season. The off season is where you're going to hear all the rumors, everybody's going to be saying they know what's going on. They got sources, this, that, and the other. Now, Ian Rappaport is a trustworthy name, but that doesn't mean he actually knows exactly what's going to happen. So I agree with you. I do think it's more likely that they do not target those top free agents, but I wouldn't rule it out entirely. So, and again, that would not necessarily disappoint me. There's a ton of free agents available. I said on our stream on Wednesday that I felt like this is one of the best and deep free agency classes that we've seen in a really long time, possibly one of the best in NFL history as far as depth. Again, not the greatest players, the greatest depth. There's a ton of veterans available right now. So, yeah, if we don't go after the top guys, I will be not terribly surprised, to say the least. But thank you for coming into the chat. If you're new here, Tommy R., hit the subscribe button, dude. And again, welcome to the channel. We are happy to have you. As Grant Rood said, cheers to you, sir. That's what we do around here. We have not seen CPS in a long time. What is up, Chad? It is good to see you, my brother. We are still doing the show, man. And don't worry, Mike is not here right now, but Mike is here in spirit. And that's what we all need to remember. Penei Sewell, it lives on forever. Bullshit. CPS, welcome to the channel, man. Welcome to the show. CPS, let me know what you're thinking about free agency. Hit the chat up. Let me know what you think. And if you guys could do me a favor, I got 9 likes on this right now. I've had a bunch of people in the chat, though, throughout the night. Hit the like button, pretty please. Also, subscribe if you're new. So we just love having you guys. It's just the best. We have a blast doing this. So, James Rhodes brings up a nice name. He says, what about Bud Dupree? Sorry, I saw a comment that I laughed about. So, yeah, Bud Dupree is a very, very interesting name. And the dude was killing it this year prior to going down with a pretty big injury. Let's go ahead and let's pull up Bud Dupree. And I'm still waiting for a call. You all need to get off your asses and call into this show. I don't know why you're acting shy. Let's see. Bud Dupree. He is going to be 28 years old. Oh, I'm sorry. He is 28 years old. He turned 28 in February. But you're looking at a guy with good sack production the last 2 seasons. He had 11.5 back in 2019. He had 8 this past year in 11 games. The only thing that worries me a little bit with Bud Dupree is that he was playing along some really good players as well. Not to say that he won't have good players on the defensive line with him. We know he will. Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin-Myers, etc., Fatukasi. But then you look at, his first 4 seasons in the NFL, and his best season was a 6-sack season. So I like that he's improved as he has aged. I just worry a little bit that, now that he's coming off of an injury, he's going to want a big payday. He's getting closer to 30 years old now. What's the contract look like? And, how's his health? If those 2 things check out pretty good, if he's not asking for a ridiculous amount of money, I'm all in. There are very few positions that I want to address in free agency, but edge is the top position. We have to get better at edge, and it needs to come from free agency. We can get better at wide receiver, at quarterback, at offensive line in the draft. I think we need to get edge pretty well set up. We need to get the edge set up in free agency. And so if Bud Dupree is the guy that Joe Douglas hangs his hat on, I am all in on that. I think it's a good move to make. So let's go ahead and move along from Bud Dupree. Tommy R. came back in the chat. He says, no issues with Tier 2 free agents except for the O-line. Yeah, I would agree. They need to try to get Joe Thuney. I think that if he's off the board, go after Kevin Zeitler. And try to get this offensive line addressed. Try to get somebody in there that can help interior offensive line be more productive in setting up a pocket for our quarterback. Grant Rood, yes! My favorite part of the show is bashing Mike for the Penny Sewell pick at number 2. Yeah, that'll never go away. I mean, honestly, that we might need to make a shirt. Like, we need to merchandise this bullshit on our channel, I feel like. Some sort of, like, Mike shrugging or something, and Penny Sewell, like a dunce hat or something. I don't know. We got to figure it out. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty funny. So yeah, Robbie Oak says, didn't Pittsburgh's seasons crash after Dupree got hurt? Yeah, I'm not surprised that it did, because he and TJ Watt obviously were wrecking shit on that defense. I mean, they were just absolutely destroying offenses before he went out went out with an injury. Let's see. Busted Knuckles says, I'm putting my daughter to bed. Otherwise, I would call someone. Call this man. Yes, what the hell are you all waiting for? Call me. The number is at the top of the screen. Let's see. So merch, I don't know, man. We're still developing here. We're still setting our roots as far as a YouTube channel. That's probably a little further down the road. But I'm trying to convince my wife, because I do like my NYJ Today shirt. So we'll have to wait and see. So he says, missed the use check chat. Check out Cone Zone. Good insight on 49ers players. They expect him to stay because to avoid the move. I'll have to check that out. I have not heard of Cone Zone. That's a pretty funny name. But I believe you. I'm sure good insight. I'll have to check him out. I will have to come back to this comment after the stream to check that guy out. Thank you for the heads up, Tommy R. James DiPietro says, remember, we will be running a 4-2-5 mostly. Is that true? Will we be mostly running that, or will we be running that in addition to a traditional 4-3 set? I don't know the defense that well. So I'll have to do my research on that. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that might actually be a good thing, since we don't have linebackers on this defense right now. So a 4-2-5 would actually be an okay thing. And honestly, that trends, to the current day NFL. You're not really terribly worried about being burned or getting, I guess I should say burned, but you're not so worried about giving up runs. You're worried more so about giving up the enormous passing plays. So yeah, I'm fine with that. If they run a 4-2-5 more often, that's just fine with me. So James is saying they run it more often in, I believe you meant to say San Fran? SG, I'm not sure what SG is. Yeah, San Fran. Yep, no worries. I can kind of piece it together. Yeah, Jason Rhodes, he will never live that down. That's going to be a part of his entire life on this channel. It's going to be about the Penny Sewell mock draft. We will be doing another, just to change the subject for a few seconds, we are going to do another mock draft. It's going to probably be after free agency. And then you will not see another mock draft until the night before the NFL draft, or excuse me, the day of the NFL draft, because we are going to go live on Thursday for that draft. So just keep that in mind. Did we watch the Caller of the Week video explaining the benefits of rolling with Sam Darnold? I did not. Caller of the Week video explaining the benefits of rolling with Sam Darnold. Robbie Oak, are you on? I'm pretty sure you are on Twitter. If not, you need to get on Twitter, because I want to talk to you, brother. I would love to see that video. I just need you to send it to me, basically. I'm not sure. You do talk about rolling with Sam Darnold. Why don't you call in and tell me about why we should keep Sam Darnold? Because listen, you and I might disagree on this, but I'm more than happy to spend airtime discussing it, because there are benefits. Okay, good. You did DM me. Good. There are benefits to keeping Sam Darnold. I just don't know if there's a benefit to keeping the player. And I worry about the ridiculous, intense scrutiny that he'll be facing. Yeah, Joe, he says, yeah, waste. You're right. Yeah, and there's a consensus here. So, Robbie Oak, you're going to need to step up to the plate, my friend. I'm going to put my phone on the table because I know you're going to call me. But yeah, there is a benefit to keeping him because we are able to build up the rest of the team, but I just worry about that position, and I feel like the scrutiny that Sam Darnold is going to face is going to be so much higher than has ever been used to. It's going to feel like every time he steps on the field, it's going to feel like a Super Bowl for him because he knows there's no patience anymore. Because if he goes out there and he has, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, if he's having games where he's throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, if he's playing games where we aren't scoring touchdowns like we did often last year, there's going to be a serious a witch hunt, if you will, for Sam Darnold's head. Jets fans are not going to tolerate it. He played very poorly last year. He was the 38th overall quarterback in the NFL last year. He had very few touchdowns in his games. The offense struggled to be consistent to get first downs. I think that's one of his biggest problems is we go 3 and out all the time and when he's leading the offense. So, come in and spit fire on me, man. I want to hear it. He says, if we don't understand it, how can we dismiss it? You have to make the case, my friend. And I'm not going to make the case in the chat. You got to make the case on the phone. Yes, Cone, pronounced Cone. Good insights on what San Fran can do. I check to see if anyone's available for us. Yes. So Grant Root says, if Sam stays and the first pick he throws with people in the stands, he's going to crumble under the boos. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. I'm thinking it's not really fair to him to put him in this situation where, it's basically like he either has to explode and have a beast season, not necessarily taking us to the playoffs, but, he's got to start playing well. He's a 3rd overall pick. Enough is enough. We can't keep babying him forever and ever. He's got to perform. And he did not step up last year. And prior to this past season, I had been saying he's shown production, he had shown improvement from year 1 to year 2. There was slight improvement. He completed more passes. He had more passing yards. He had less interceptions, I believe. So there's no real excuse for him to say, oh, the team was no good. We know it wasn't good. The team was terrible. But there's no excuse for him to play that poorly. That's just my take on it. Robbie Oak, you got to defend yourself, man, because I'm not gonna defend for you. He says exactly. Plus, his contract is coming up, so this year would be a make or break for Sam. Yeah, it truly would be. He would have to perform at a very, very high level for the New York Jets to even have to consider re-signing him. Worst case scenario, you'd bring Sam back, and he has like a season where he throws 22 touchdowns and like 18 interceptions, and he doesn't really like prove anything. And we wouldn't necessarily be in position to take a quarterback in the following draft, which we are right now. We are in prime position to land a quarterback of elite talent. Whether you believe it's Trey Lance, whether you believe it's Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, we are in the position right now. And so I think that's the mistake, is you pass up on a quarterback right now, and you may end up being in a worse situation than you're already in. Michelle adds, she says, Sam seems like a good guy, but he can't be the answer. They might still lose this year, but even if you put Sam even if you put Sam begin. I'm not sure what you're saying there, dear. You got to make your sentences a little bit more clear. She says, behind the best line, he still isn't good enough, right? And that's the concern. Even when he had time last year to throw, even when he did have protection, he was either errant, he was either not reading the field, or he was doing the jitterbug thing in the pocket. He kind of panics in the pocket. He doesn't really, he doesn't use the pocket to make throws. And one of the worst plays from last season was the play against the Broncos where he held the ball for eternity instead of throwing it to a wide open Denzel Mims who was literally right in front of him. It was a 3rd down play, I'm pretty sure, and Mims was wide open for the first down. It was just a quick dump slant. I think it was a slant route right in front of his face, and he doesn't throw it to him. So these are the things. These are the concerns with Sammy. He's not making the plays even when he's given protection. So there we go. We got a caller. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to NYJ today. What's going on?
What's going on? I couldn't take this Sam Darnold talk anymore. I gave him a few minutes to call in, and it's time to destroy him now.
All right, Jason, let's hear it, man. Go to work.
Sam Darnold is the same guy today that he was when he stepped on the field at USC. He hasn't learned. He's making the same mistakes that he made.
Exactly.
As a sophomore.
Yep. You keep going. You keep going.
Sophomore in college.
Yep. So that's the thing that I point to on when I'm online, when I'm talking to people on Facebook, on Twitter. I just keep pointing to he was a turnover guy at college. So why are we expecting him to fix this at the NFL level?
I'm not even discussing the turnovers. His same demeanor changed. I couldn't, as a football player, could not follow a quarterback going into the huddle, and every third word coming out of his mouth is If you watch any of his interviews,
yes,
every third word is and that, and in the business world or any world, and when you're trying to build confidence, and you want me to believe in you, don't use the word ever.
You are so right about that. You are so right about that. And I actually...
Now, can you picture Sam? We're not in the huddle, but I'm just picturing Sam Darnold in the huddle. He's coming up and telling me to play, and every third word is
Red 28,
believe in this play.
Red Foxtrot,
Yeah. And you not even thinking about the play. You're a wide receiver running out to the edge, and the only thing you heard was
Yeah, that is something that he does. And actually, since I've been doing videos on the channel, I've actually noted in like my earlier videos, I was saying a lot. And maybe he's not aware of it. Maybe he doesn't realize he's doing it. You would think that somebody from that department of the Jets would talk to him about that, but it's absolutely true. He does seem to hang on to that word quite a bit when he's in interviews and things like that. So it does show a lack of confidence.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have confidence in himself, he's not going to bring the confidence to the other players. It's his job to convince this wide receiver, whoever it is, that you get there, I'll make the throw. There's no confidence when they break the huddle. I just don't see it.
So you weren't on the show on Wednesday, Jason. I don't think I remember seeing you there. So one of our...
No, I didn't make it on Wednesday. I ended up watching later on.
You're good, man. I'm not busting your balls. What I was actually going to say is we had a segment about make the case for Sam Darnold resurrecting his career. And honestly, the chat was pretty one-sided. What do you think he could do or the Jets could do to truly make that work? Like, is there something that they could do to potentially turn this thing around for him? Hard work?
Well, here's the thing. He's still very young, so you've got that going for you.
Yep. Is there anything else that you think the team could do though?
What you could do is you go out and you draft, or not draft, you go out and pick up a quarterback that was just released from Washington.
Alex Smith?
Yes.
Okay, so you're bringing Alex Smith in. I got you. Go ahead.
You bring Alex Smith in, and you consider this year, I just drafted Sam Darnold. You forget the last 3 years. Alex Smith, you've got the starting job.
I think that could work out, and he could be like a Josh McCown for this team. And I mean, I think Darnold needs somebody like that. I think that's why Darnold had more success his first 2 years.
The only way Sam Darnold could ever get his career resurrected with the Jets is if he sits 2021.
Yeah, I think if he goes to another team, that needs to happen too.
If he gets on the field, it's not going to matter if he throws. Sam Darnold's good game is not going to be enough in New York right now.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, and that's kind of why the discussion it was limited, to say the least, last week. Robbie Oak is in the chat, and Robbie Oak, I just want to make sure you know, you disagreeing with me does not hurt my feelings, and I hope it doesn't make you frustrated to hear people disagree with you. I just want to hear, what are your reasons for keeping Sam Darnold? Because we've kind of laid it out there. We've given the reasons why it's not smart to keep him. Why would you want to keep him? And that's kind of what I was asking Jason right now. So other than his age, Alex Smith potentially coming in to help teach him, are there any other things that you think that could stand out, Jason, that would potentially turn him around before it's basically too late?
There you go. That has to stop. If he doesn't find some confidence somewhere, whether he needs to go back and finish, he needs to go back and finish school. Whatever it is that he needs to do, he's going to have to find the confidence that got him the starting job as a senior in high school, that got him a starting job at USC, and started day one in the NFL. Everybody else had the confidence in him, but he just doesn't seem to have the same confidence that other people thought he had.
Right. No, that's the thing. He's like one of. Go ahead.
I'm not concerned about his talent level. I'm not concerned. I mean, all these other things could get fixed.
Right. Yeah.
Until his confidence level that he owns this team, I've never felt in 3 years that he's the owner, not necessarily the owner, but when I say the owner, he's like when he walks out, and they huddle. Does he own that huddle?
Right.
Does he own that offense?
Exactly.
I've never felt it.
What do you know? Do you remember the nickname that John Gruden had for Peyton Manning? Do you remember what he used to call him?
No, I don't recall.
He used to call him the sheriff, and it's exactly what you just said. Because there was only one sheriff in that huddle, and it was Peyton Manning. And it's the same for all of these elite quarterbacks. They own that huddle, and the players are looking to them for not just leadership, but for a big play to be happening. So,
and it's not. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've never felt that Sam Darnold, whether it's been through the interview, the post game, during practice when you see him kind of just lollygagging around, that's like.
Yeah, you need a guy to light a fire.
Where does he hold it? Where does he have enough responsibility? To hold other players accountable.
Exactly. Yep. No, I agree.
Well, you already know, Peyton Manning didn't put up with any of that.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm not saying Sam Darnold could be a Peyton Manning.
But in leadership, he could be.
Go with what worked.
This is the thing, and this is why I feel like players who have that quiet demeanor, that only works if you are a sensational leader in that huddle, and if you're able to lead by example. And I don't know if Sam Darnold really does that. I don't know if he's quietly leading the team. He might be a good dude, and he is a good dude. But why?
He's a great kid.
Say that again.
I said I'm sure he's a great kid. Personally,
right.
I mean, I don't think there's anything negative that but. I don't think that he has the leadership ability. If you watch even younger ones, you watch Mahomes.
Yep. No, he does. I mean, he's definitely a fiery guy, and I think that's the kind of guy you need. Tom Brady is an absolute firecracker of a quarterback. I mean,
absolutely. Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. And it's almost one of those things where
Aaron Rodgers may be a little bit too much of a big baby. He's maybe more of a baby than he is a firecracker, and that's probably why they haven't won any more Super Bowls.
Yep. Well, and I was just gonna say, like, they almost borderline they're not disliked, but you can sense that edge when you watch them on the sidelines when players aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, they are just calling them out. Great players do that.
Drew Brees was another one.
Yep. Dan Marino used to do it too. So
where's this fire that Sam Darnold has? I mean, I've never never seen it.
Yep. No, it's true. It is absolutely true. All right, Jason.
And I'm not even going to bust his chops about the poor footwork or the poor decisions or any of that, because we all see that.
Right. Like the obvious stuff you're saying.
Go in and be the leader. You own the team. I mean, own it, or own the offense, whatever it is. And at some point, when Sam Darnold played Green Bay that rookie year,
yep,
that was about the only game that I can recall where he walked out there with a lot of confidence.
He did. That was one hell of a game by him, and that was one of those games where you pointed to after his rookie year, and you were just like, "This is why." And I actually thought that against the Texans in his rookie year, he did the exact same thing. He was playing with supreme confidence in that game, making plays all over the place on the field. I mean, that's the Sam Darnold that we all were praying that we were going to get for the rest of his career. But it obviously it hasn't.
And maybe that rookie year turned him into David Carr.
Yeah, you're talking about the Texans quarterback, the old one, gun shy, trigger, and felt like he was always being pressured.
And just lost and never got it back.
Yep, it's the truth.
So, there's my take on it. I gave him a few minutes to call in. He didn't do it, so I'm like, I just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's all good, man. No worries. And again, if he doesn't want to call in, it's okay. I mean, he might not be interested in doing it.
I'm just busting him a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling, Jason, man. I look forward to talking to you soon, man. Take it easy.
We'll talk again.
Yep, take it easy. Later, man. Thank you so much to Jason Rhodes for calling in. Yeah, it's no big deal. I don't want this channel to ever be one of those channels where we're going to actually... The only person I want to make fun of for a comment or an idea is Mike. We can make fun of Mike for the Penei Sewell thing. We can make fun of Mike for all of his idiotic takes. But in serious, there's really never going to be that kind of... it's not going to be this kind of channel. We're not going to be calling you out on your takes. And Robbie Oak, we will do our homework, and we will let you know what we think. I will do a little bit more reading into it, and don't you sweat it, buddy, because you are still welcome here. Again, even though you disagree, here's the thing. I could be wrong, and we could all be wrong. There's never a certainty in the NFL. The NFL is a wild creature, and things can change. So just keep that in mind. Yep, I appreciate that, Jason. Appreciate the support. That's awesome. Yep, so CPS is talking about Sam's game that he had his rookie year. Had so much hope for Sam after that game. Yeah, he pretty much went toe-to-toe against Rodgers in that game. It was a very offensive game. And he was just shredding the Packers defense that game. Absolutely shredding them. Okay, let's see. The Green Bay game is the only reason why Jets haven't dumped him yet. He played some other good games his rookie year as well. He had a game against the Colts where he played pretty well. He also played against the Texans quite well. He had a game against... there was one other one. I can't recall. But he definitely had some games where he looked quite good and there was promise there for sure. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to kind of just like go back and watch. It might not be a bad idea because, the thing with Darnold, and we can kind of wrap up the show after this because we're getting close to 2 hours now, one of our longest streams yet. One of the things that I noticed with Sam this past year was he wasn't pulling the trigger. That he had guys open. We've seen it. We've seen the film where they show plays where it's pretty apparent that the guy's open. And for whatever reason, he just wasn't pulling the trigger. It was almost like it was like he was gun shy and not quick to make decisions. And so that's kind of one of the arguments to keep Darnold is just terrible, terrible coaching. We know Gase is bad. So maybe there's still hope for Darnold because of the bad coaching. Maybe his eyes weren't where they were supposed to be because of Gase. We just don't know. Maybe the coaching that he was given was telling him to look elsewhere when he really should have been looking in the places that we saw as fans. It's hard to say. Yeah, Jason Rhodes is pointing out maybe he played well against the Finns. He's had some really bad games against the Finns. I don't know if it was in his rookie year. I know he had a bad game against them one of the times. But yeah, he had some good games his rookie year. There's no doubt about it. Oh my God, the Herndon touchdown in his rookie year. And again, this is kind of like, this is the thing. We've seen Herndon and Darnold, their rookie years, show so much promise at two positions where the Jets have just so lacked at tight end and quarterback. They showed so much promise their rookie years, and then it's just been nothing but decline for both of them since. So, I don't know, man. It sucks. It just sucks that it didn't work out, or it hasn't worked out to this point. So it says Dallas this past year was good, but there is nothing close to Darnold versus Rodgers. Yeah, I would agree. Darnold, even in that Dallas game, he threw a pick, I'm pretty sure, at one point. It was in like the third or fourth quarter. Yeah, that's the thing, Jason. And again, I kind of go back to the coaching. I'm wondering if he was almost like he was overthinking everything in that offense. And again, there are people online that break the film down way better than I ever could. And they show the route concepts that the offense is doing that Gase constructed. And there's some bizarre ass shit going on as far as, like I said, concepts. Basically, wide receivers running to the same areas of the field, and there's just like open grass where they're not even running. The offense was not spread out enough. So again, maybe this is what Robbie Oak is talking about, and this is why we can't shut that idea down completely. And again, like I said, trading down in the draft and passing on a quarterback isn't what I would do, but there are benefits. Whether you agree about keeping Sam or not, you can't argue the fact that it wouldn't help build the team. That is undeniably true. You can't sit here and say that they wouldn't be able to get better players on this team by making that move. And I think that's why Joe Douglas is sitting on his hands right now. I still think he's trying to figure it all out. He's still attending these pro days for these quarterbacks, and he's trying to figure out what to do. Again, I still think that he's going to trade Darnold. He didn't draft him. This coach wasn't a part of the staff that drafted him. So I just think that that's ultimately what will happen. James DiPietro, that's a good point. Yeah, his very first game threw that pick six, and then, my God, did he calm down. How the hell did he do that? 21 years old, or maybe he was 20. I don't even know. He was so friggin' young that first game. Threw a pick six on his very first pass attempt in his pro career, and he did. He settled down. He started throwing the ball to Quincy Enunwa. Enunwa looked great in that game. Robbie Anderson had a big touchdown as well. So, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about, all of these games that he's had in his rookie year that looked so good. So, yeah. All right. We are right at the almost 2-hour mark here. You guys are still lighting the chat up, and I do appreciate it. Again, I'm just going to kind of throw another plug in here, guys. If you are one of the viewers that watches my content or our content after the fact, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'm encouraging you to do so. I mean, we really need the support. We're still growing, and I think we're growing really nicely. We are having an absolute blast every time we do these different live streams, and the videos are getting good, good reception from you guys. I think that the free agency profile videos have done well, and I appreciate everybody that's been watching and commenting. That's what I love to do. I love to talk about them, the videos, after the fact and hear what you guys have to say. So just let me know, if there's something else that you guys want to watch on the channel, if there's something that you have an idea for, let me know. I am looking forward to doing the draft profiles. That is 100% the next path that we are going to take. We are transitioning from free agency this last weekend. This is going to be the last two videos, Keanu, Neal, and then my predictions. And then it's draft for a month and a half. If you have other ideas, if you want me to start putting in some videos, about, I don't know, trade targets. I mean, whatever you guys want to come up with, as far as ideas go, but that's where I'm going to go. If I don't hear anything from you guys, it's going to be draft all the way to the draft. That's what we're going to be doing. All right, guys, that's going to do it for NYJ today. Thank you so much for the support. We love having you guys. We love interacting with you. We cannot wait for free agency. We have the Wednesday stream coming up. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe so you get notified. We will be live this Wednesday night for free agency's kickoff. We cannot wait. We're hoping they make a move. We hope for Joe Tooney. We hope for maybe a signing at the wide receiver position. Thank you guys so much. It's always a blast. Go Jets. And I'll see you guys next time.